This is Pod Populi.
Podcast for the people.
The Great Love Debate. It's the Great Love Debate.
The Great Love Debate. It's the Great Love Debate.
Hi again, everyone. It's Brian Howie. Welcome to the Great Love Debate, the world's #1 dating and relationship podcast. Since 2015, I am here in the very fine studios of Pod Populi, Podcast for the People. I am the one in Scottsdale. As you know, I love Scottsdale. So last week's episode, if you're listening to these in order, and if you're not, hey, so what? Last week I talked, the title of the episode was Forgetting the Familiar. Got a lot of people riled up. A lot of people didn't agree with me, but I think everybody agrees with me that the answers to whatever you're looking for tend to lie outside of your comfort zone. And so I did a podcast about a year ago, half a year ago, somewhere in 2022. And it was called Love Where You Least Expect It. And I had my guest on, and I'm bringing her back in today because we're going to both get an update and talk about a lot of things. Her name is Sarah Held. At the time, she was the co-host of the Housewives of Golf podcast. Now she's gone out on her own, and her podcast is called Switching Teams. That's sort of a side note, but it's sort of tangentially related. Hi, Sarah. How are you?
Hi, Brian. How are you?
I want you to talk about how did this all come about? You came on the podcast, and you sprung something on me, but let's go back. We met about a year ago, and I told you, get on the dating apps. What did I tell you?
No. So, every time my old co-host and I would come into the studio, we would always just start talking about probably my dating life at some point.
Because people tend to talk to me about this stuff like that's my thing.
And it was really non-existent, to be honest. And you had asked me a few times, do you like the girls or whatever? And I was like, no, I like guys. I like dudes. I like penises, What is that? Peni?
Penises? No, it could be peni.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you said all of a sudden one day, you go, hey, I want to have you on the pod. And I said, oh boy, what are we going to talk about? You said, well, what dating apps are you on? I said, none. I'm not interested. Too busy. You said, get back on Bumble. Let's get you on the podcast. We're going to swipe live on there. And immediately I'm like, okay, I'm into that. I like that.
Like real-time experiment with somebody who'd been out of the loop.
Yeah.
We threw you back in the deep end of the pool.
Which I'm all for it. But I couldn't wait. Like I went home and I was like, screw it. I grabbed a bottle of wine, opened the wine, and I guess my profile from 2020 when I was on for like 3 days was still there. I didn't change anything. And then, so I'm swiping. I maybe swiped one guy right. And it was like a reach. It really was. I'm like,
a reach for you, or a reach for him?
Like for him, he was not, he was okay.
I was a solid 6.
Yeah. So then all of a sudden I got a pop-up that says you've swiped through the whole city. So
no.
Yeah. So I had to broaden my horizons. Farther away, older, younger, swipe through the city again. And I'm like, this
is a big city. Did you get like carpal tunnel syndrome?
Yeah.
You swipe so much?
I went
tennis elbow.
I was like down to Tucson. I was in different states. I'm like, Jesus. So I was like, this is why I'm single. This is the pool of men that I have to choose from.
Now, just back up a second. What was your parameters of what you were looking for? What was the age? Was it like, because you shouldn't be able to blow through everybody that quick.
The original one was probably 35 to 55. If I had to
that's
guess.
A huge pool.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it wasn't like
So you went through a 20-year period, and your geographic parameters were 20 miles?
To begin with, probably 20.
Okay. So 20 years and 20 miles, and you found one
Maybe. There was maybe 3
Now, are you traditionally picky when you're sober?
I mean, yeah, but not like, I'm not picky like after the gorgeous men. Usually it has to be a good personality.
Okay.
So, I mean, they still have to be attractive, but...
Right, but when you're swiping through and saying no, how are you gauging the personality?
By reading his...
okay. There was no impish humor.
Yeah, it was bad.
Okay. No, I'm not disagreeing with
And
this.
then I think we've talked about this.
Okay.
There was a lot of pictures with small dogs and cats, and that's an immediate swipe left for me. Immediately.
Okay. Cats in general or just small cats?
Just cats in general and small dogs.
And small dogs. Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
You're out.
Okay.
Zip by.
Okay.
So I was probably 3 glasses of wine in now. And I'm like, Jesus. So I was like, you know what? Let's go see what this side has to offer. And I just clicked the girls. And like first 4 girls on there, I was like, ooh, no, I don't think I'm attracted to girls. Then all of a sudden, like the 5th one, I see this girl and I was like, whoa, she's hot. And I nervously swiped and I shut down the app.
Because you found
I was just nervous.
Because you had a tingling?
Yeah, everything was tingling.
And so you thought, what is this weird feeling I'm having?
You bet.
Yeah. So you swiped and then shut down?
Oh, yeah.
And then what?
And then in the morning, I got a message from her.
Oh.
So she had clearly swiped.
So in the girl world, either one can message?
So I didn't know any of this.
Right.
She did. Apparently, yes. Either one can message.
Because in the girl guy world, she
Yes.
has to make the move.
But I did not know that.
Okay.
I guess I should have thought about that. But
Yeah.
I thought if you swiped, you had to wait for them
Right.
to swipe and then you find out you're a match. Like if she would have swiped first and then I would have matched,
Right.
I probably would have messaged first.
So she must have found you attractive.
Apparently she found me attractive. I appeared to be single because apparently that's an issue.
On the girl side?
Apparently there's a lot of girls that are on there that are in relationships with men that are just looking
For something on the
to
side.
add either on the side or to add into the relationship.
Oh, a third.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
That's like a thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thruple. It's a thruple.
Wow, I feel so out of the loop. Okay. So
I didn't
she
know any of
reaches
this.
out and says what?
Because remember, I didn't have my name on there. I didn't have my name. It was SA.
Oh, yeah.
And,
I don't have no idea what that stands for, but.
or no,
Is
it
that
was
your middle
SH.
initial?
It was SH.
Oh, SH. Okay.
Yeah. And so I think she said, what's your name? And what's your cute pup's name?
Oh, so you're allowed to have a small dog?
No, I had 2
Oh,
big
you have
dogs.
big dogs. Oh,
Yeah.
I've seen your dogs. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a good line.
Yeah.
That would work either way. That would work heterosexual or the other. What's your dog's name?
And I was like giddy. I was like, oh my God, she messaged me.
Did you remember her from the night before?
Oh, 1,000,000%. Because
What-
I woke up like nervous, like I'm going to be really bummed if she doesn't.
Now, what were her pictures and what was in her profile? Do you remember?
Yeah, she had a picture of her snowboarding, but it was like with a crop. Every picture is pretty much crop top, which rightfully so. She deserves to wear one.
Right.
So it's like picture of her snowboarding with a crop top, picture of her with her dog.
Which would probably work with dudes too, I imagine.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And I think for a while she was on both.
Okay.
In fact, one of my guy friends recognized her picture and said, "Oh, I used to be talking to her on Bumble." I'm like, "No way."
Yeah, he's probably the one who scared her over to the
I go,
dark
"Well,
side.
guess who closed the deal and you didn't?"
Yeah. Okay. So she says, "Hey, what's your dog's name?" And then are you like, "I've never done?" And so to be clear, you have never.
I have never dated a woman. I have
never-
never slept with a woman.
You
I have
never
never
kissed a girl drunk in a bar.
not a random girl. Like it was like the friends where you're like,
Okay.
"Oh, let's do a little pecs
Yeah.
to get these guys going,"
Okay.
which is so dumb.
Yeah. It does.
And then that's it. Like never thought about it really. Like
So does she ask, "What are you doing here? Do you normally date girls? Do you normally like what is the
No.
process here?" And not to sound like some naive straight dude here, but I have some questions. So that's what I'm asking.
and I
here.
appreciate this.
Okay.
And I was expecting that out the gate. It did not come out the gate. That question didn't come up for I think 2 days. It was really just small talk.
Okay.
Like, and it was immediate, constant. And then all of a sudden I know this is going to be a random question and it's come off weird because we swiped each other, but you date girls, right? And my stomach just dropped. I was like, oh God, I have to be honest with her.
Oh.
But now she's not going to like me. And now I'm bummed because I'm like, this is the first person that I've liked.
She thought you'd be exposed as a straight girl, which sounds boring. Yeah.
I think it's a thing like to date a straight girl right away is not.
Because generally the lesbians that I know, they're fighting 2 battles. They're fighting do we like each other and will she go back? Is this
Right.
just a play thing? Is
Is this an experiment?
Yeah, it's experiment. Is this fun? And then that's got to be equally scary or painful, possibly. It's like you're not even committed to the lifestyle.
Right.
So that's the boogeyman around the corner.
Yeah.
So you said, I don't know. Maybe I like it and maybe I'm into this.
Right when she messaged me that and my stomach dropped, I knew that I really liked her right then. I was like, this isn't good. But I knew I had to be honest with her. Mm-hmm. And so I said, well, there's the long and short answer is no, I've never dated a woman. The long answer is I'm sure there'll be people in my life that won't be surprised. And I kind of went into this long thing explaining it. Like, because
you hang out in the golf circles.
Well, and I think hanging out in the specific golf circles I've been in the last few years helped me feel more comfortable exploring this.
Now, women had, you'd been around a lot of women who liked women and they had come on to you or they'd ask you questions. Never?
No.
Huh.
Never.
You don't give off that
no. I don't
energy?
give off. No. I've had like random ones come up to me, but never like in my golf circle. Never. No.
See, I've had gay men hit on me and I'm always flattered by it. I'm not mad. I'm like, does that mean I've got good style?
Everyone should be flattered by it.
I am. I'm like, okay, good. Yeah. Thanks. No, I'm not gay. Sorry, but thank you. I'm not one of those guys. You just hang out at
BS West every night just to get hit on?
Maybe. Like me and my friend Sean from college when we were in LA, we would go to like the gayest bar and see if we got any leads. We would not, and it made us feel really bad. But I was always
you
very
went
flattered.
in there to get confidence.
Yeah,
and
we want to go in there to be like, are we getting? And we go once a year. And he's a big fat guy, and I'm not the stylish guy. We would go into the Abbey, the gayest place in West Hollywood, and we would sit there and see if anybody would. And the worst compliment you can get to me is, "Oh my God, you're so clearly straight." And that just means I'm boring.
It was that everyone knew.
Terrible.
I feel like I have that look though too.
Yeah,
I definitely don't have the look of. Although I will say, one of the last guys I dated, when I first met him and his friends. His friend came up to me on like the 14th hole. We were playing golf and he turns around to me and he says, "Hey, Sarah, do you like to suck the D?"
Yeah.
Like really randomly. And I go, oh yeah. He goes, "Hey guys, she's not gay." And I was like, wait, time out. You guys thought I was gay? Oh. They're like, "Oh yeah, for sure. You're way too cool. You play softball, you play golf. You had to be gay."
Play softball. No offense to anybody out there, softball players. So anyway, back to your initial. So she's basically feeling you out, or she's seeing if she just likes you? What was her, looking back? I'm sure you had the conversation since.
Looking back, I think she was just confirming or trying to confirm, which in turn wasn't.
That she wouldn't be wasting her time on this.
Right. So my long explanation basically at the end said, I totally understand if now this freaks you out. I will be disappointed because I do feel like there's a connection. Mm-hmm. And I would hope that maybe you would be open to seeing if this connection is real and seeing what's going on. And then what felt like 8 hours for her to respond, which was probably like 20 minutes. She was like, "You know what? You seem different. It does kind of scare me, but I'm willing to see where this goes."
Okay. I have a million questions. I'm here with Sarah Held. We're exploring her not so new relationship anymore. But we got to pay the bills around here. So I got to take a quick break and we will be back right after this. And we are back. So early on in this relationship, what feels different about that sort of nervous, awkward first couple dates and encounters with a woman versus a guy? Is there anything different in the way you behave, or does it just seem exactly the same other than the guy's not making moves constantly?
Up until we met, so like the first week, it felt exactly the same. There was nothing different.
Okay.
Nothing. Like we were FaceTiming for hours because I was out of town, so we couldn't meet right away. Uh-huh. Now the first time we met, I would say I was a little nervous in a different way, just because I'm like, oh my God,
because you don't know how to handle this,
right? Like, am I the dude? Is she the dude?
Right.
Do I have to kiss her? What if we do kiss each other? Like what?
Did you Google anything before you went out?
I did not.
Was there a handbook?
There's no handbook.
Did you call any of your lesbian friends?
Yes, I did. And
I knew you did.
There was a common theme.
Okay, what?
You will never, ever go back after tonight.
Go back to dudes?
Mm-hmm. All of them were like,
really?
Are you ready for this?
Because why? Why were they so confident?
They said, you are about to have the best sex of your life.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
And I was like, whoa, these are bold statements.
Well, they are. And these are from Gold Star lesbians?
No, not Gold Star.
They need to know. Gold Star is a woman who's never been with a man.
No, these are women.
Someone who's tried both sides of the buffet.
Yep.
Okay.
And they literally, all of them were like, you're never going back.
Oh man, we are so obsolete. Okay. So
bad. It's
so
bad.
did that excite you?
Of course.
Okay. Or were you like this?
I mean, I'm still nervous at this point just because now I wanted it to be just as great in person as it's been.
Are you telling her all along? Because you must have asked her like she's not exclusively with girls either her whole life.
Right.
Were you asking her questions like and telling her you were nervous, or did you try and play cool like I got this?
Totally cool. Tried to play totally. I did not lead on to believe that I was nervous.
Okay.
I needed to play cool. And then she walked in. I make fun of it now because she came from work, so she was wearing scrubs. But I joke. I said, "You walked in with such like a lesbian stride, like I'm here and I mean business, and I'm sitting down like a boss."
Now, does she handle things differently? Like you're sort of a young chicken, and she doesn't want to scare you out of the nest before you know. She must have had to handle that differently too, right? Or is she like, I'm taking this down?
No, it's really weird because she has said from the beginning numerous times, like, I swear to God, you were a lesbian in your past life, or you were always meant to be.
So you're a natural lesbian.
Apparently.
Wow.
Apparently.
Born talent.
Yeah.
Because you figure from her point of view, she doesn't want to scare you off as somebody who likes her.
Right.
And then she doesn't want to scare you off from the lifestyle and the possibilities.
Right.
Yeah.
And like, obviously all the sexual things was so new to me and not new to her.
So we'll get to the sex in a second, but did you tell her honestly, like, I don't really know how to do this. Can you lead, for lack of a better term?
I did for the sex. I think for the sex part I did. I was like, just so you know, like I think I said, just so you know, there's gonna be a learning curve.
Well, so back up for the sex. So you're out where? Where's the first date?
At Cashmere's in Old Town Scottsdale.
Okay. And you're like, at some point somebody's going to kiss somebody.
So we have a great night. We just talk as you would on any date. It's not about our sexuality at all. It's never brought up.
It's just like but how's that different from like a couple of girlfriends? What makes it differently? Where's the sexual chemistry?
Well, because I'm attracted. Like,
I get that, but so you'd never even been attracted to a girl before?
Not like this.
And I've seen her. She's smoking hot.
Yeah.
But I'm
like
a guy, so I don't know if it's the same kind of smoking hot.
I don't know. It's weird.
Okay, so you're with her and it's nervous the way you are sitting at a bar with a guy. Is it the same nervous energy? Or you're like, when you're out with a guy, at some point this jackass is going to try and kiss me and you kind of know?
It's more nervous in the sense that I really like this girl, or let's just say person, because if there hasn't been very many guys I've really liked and got butterflies. But it was...
And what did you like about it? The lack of bullshit, the lack of pretense, Yeah,
she was very just... We were a lot alike in the way we communicated on FaceTime and text and everything. Very open. We had the same age, a lot in common.
So you weren't attracted in like a forbidden fruit kind of way. You were attracted like you would be attracted to anybody
Correct.
else. Okay.
I went with it. I tried not to like think about it too much.
And how much is your brain going at the same time? Like, what does this mean? How will I explain this? How do I explain this to myself?
It was doing that for 5 days. So I just had to like try to tell as many people as I could.
I think I like a girl.
Because it was helping me like understand it in my mind.
And most people probably like, oh yeah, cool.
My best friend almost drove off the side of the road. She's like, because I like sent her a picture. She's like, who is it? Is it someone from the past? Who is he? Do I know him? And I sent the picture. She's like, no, you're lying. You were lying. But everyone else was like, okay. And my dad's like, not surprised.
Oh.
Yeah. So
okay, so you're at this date. Then when does the kiss happen? At the bar?
So we leave, and I didn't know how this all goes. So I'm like, I guess I'll just flex here. Let's start out the gate. So I threw down my credit card. I'm like, I got this.
Oh, yeah.
And then we left, and I actually had said, why don't you just take a cab? I will come get you in the morning and bring you to your car. That way you don't have to drive.
Okay.
And she finally agreed to it. So she kind of walked towards my car, and then she just went in.
Oh, like a dude.
Mm-hmm.
She made the move.
She made the move.
Were you taken off guard, or were you like, I knew this was happening? Because when the guy, you walk out, you leave the bar with the guy, you know he's going to make the move.
Well, I was hoping as we were walking out.
Right.
Also still slightly nervous, but not as nervous because I had wine.
How much wine?
Oh, we probably had 3 or 4 glasses.
So you were fine to drive home, but she wasn't.
Yeah. I know. I look back at it and I'm like, I totally made her.
Like, you take a cab. I got
her
this.
Body weight's lower than mine.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. She's a little thing.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, so that kiss did it feel like you crossed a threshold then of, the biggest point then for you is probably the kiss, right?
Oh yeah. And then I was like, oh boy,
this is what
I'm in trouble. This is what they're talking about.
Right.
And then I go home and of course it's all you can think about.
So she's like, so it ends. She still gets in the cab.
Yep.
It's just a quick make out in the street.
It was a pretty good makeout, solid.
So there's
make-out.
probably security footage of this somewhere in Old Town Scottsdale.
Absolutely.
We'll have to subpoena that.
Absolutely.
Okay, so you go home nervous. What does this mean? I've never done that. Can I do this?
Not nervous at all now.
That felt normal.
Yep.
Huh.
Abnormally normal.
Yeah.
Like that part actually got in my head a little more. I'm like, why is this so normal? And should this have been what I should have been doing all along?
So you go backwards and you're like, oh my God, I wasted all this time with dudes and penises.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm like, was I just trying to make everything else work?
Yeah. Okay. So the next day
we're texting, or I think I started texting her like.
Did you do the get home? Did you get home okay?
Yeah, of course.
Like the dude. So
yeah,
you're the dude.
Totally. And she did. And I think we talked about how much fun we had and blah, blah, blah. But then she kind of went quiet. Oh, she called in sick to work that day.
Because she drank too much or because she wanted to see you?
I think maybe both.
Okay.
She was a little hungover.
Yeah.
And so she finally wakes up after sleeping, and then I went and got her, and I pulled this move. I go, because her car was in Old Town, I said, why don't I come get you, bring you to your car, and then why don't you come over to my house and we can watch a movie? My house is right down the street.
That's the kind of thing that a dude would do.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And she was like, yeah, okay.
Okay. And I don't want to get into the nitty gritty, so to speak, of it, but did you ask questions before the sexual encounter? Did you like, what do you do? Or you're just like, tell me what to do and I'm good to go?
I never even said, tell me what to do.
So you just went along with?
Yeah. I went with what felt, I don't know.
And still no Googling?
No Googling. I mean, I've watched plenty of porn in my life.
Yeah, but as always, porn is never an example of what people do.
True.
So you're like, I think I know. And then you're like, oh, I kind of like this.
And then I just went for it. And I was nervous.
And prettier.
Like, yeah.
They smell better.
Oh, everything is better.
Sorry, dudes. I don't know. If I were a girl, I'd be a lesbian too. It's just better.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
So when do you start telling people?
Oh, well, I told my close friends right before we even met.
That I think I like a girl.
Oh, yeah. I was like, I'm in trouble. Like, I knew right away that I was like.
I kissed a girl and I think I like it.
Yeah.
Cherry chapstick.
And then once we kissed, because my best friend back home, she called me the next day. She goes, okay, how was it? Because I knew that was going to be the determining factor. Like,
right.
If it felt normal and. Like,
so the kiss was bigger than the other stuff.
Yeah, because if that didn't feel good to me, then.
Yeah, well, just like with a dude.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it did. And I told my best friend, she goes, oh my God. And then my best friend was asking about her and I told her she's like, I like her better than all the dudes you've dated so far.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. So at what point do you guys have a conversation like, is this something? Because she has to be wondering, are you ready to go into put your chips on the table in a girl-girl relationship? Is this what you want? Can you do this? Like, she has to be asking as many questions as you are.
Yeah, she didn't ask a lot. I do remember her asking me at one point, do you see yourself in a long-term relationship with a girl? And I said, well, I see myself in a long-term relationship with this girl right in front of me. Like, yes.
Right. So it's not like you cross some Rubicon and you're like, oh, now I like girls. You like this person. Yeah. There's a lot of people who are like that. And it's like, they're not gay, they're not straight. They're just like, I'm looking for somebody to love. And it happens to be that. Yeah.
And she, for the most part, is the same way. Heaven forbid if we ever broke up, which knock on wood, I hope doesn't happen. But I don't know what I would.
Now, her social circle, are they mostly straight, mostly gay?
We actually just joked about this on her birthday. I brought my best friend and she was the only straight girl. And Janet goes, I need to broaden my friend group. She's like, all of a sudden it's closed in and it's like all lesbians.
Right. So are they skeptical of your commitment to her and this new lifestyle?
Maybe in the beginning, like first few weeks and stuff, but
because they're probably protective of her, like, oh, she's just
right.
Couldn't find anybody that night.
Right.
She's going to go back.
Right. But now I don't think there's any question. No.
Do you, at what point she's met the family?
She met my parents. So I told my parents probably, I told my brother 3 weeks in from the first time we spoke ever.
Mm-hmm.
And then I told my parents probably a month, 4 to 5 weeks in. And then they met her
And
shortly
most
after.
people in your life are probably like, I could see that.
A lot of people were like, and I ask why, and a lot of the answers I get are because you're just fun and really easygoing and not like judgmental.
Right.
And so it doesn't surprise me that you would be open to something like this.
How many people, or how many, so you're a big golf person.
Mm-hmm.
Now that you are an eligible lesbian, are they coming out of the woodwork?
They're not.
They're not.
They're not. Not yet. I mean, I haven't.
But you can't even consider, what do you consider yourself now? Just somebody who likes somebody and no labels?
I consider myself dating a girl.
Okay.
And that's how like.
Now, are you attracted to other girls? Like, has that turned on anything and you're walking down the street and you're like, oh, she's hot?
Not any different, I don't think.
So you used to think that?
I used to look at a girl and go, wow, she's really pretty.
But you didn't want to kiss her?
I thought cuddling sounded really weird. Like I couldn't
Cuddling
envision
with another
myself
girl?
cuddling with another girl. I'm like
Braiding each other's hair and nails? Is that my lesbian thing? That's not really a thing?
I mean, we have done it.
Oh, you have? Okay. So you don't do you look at men any differently?
No.
Because I've been around you since this. I feel like you are more easygoing around the dudes because I feel like you don't think like, oh, I don't have to date them.
No, I've always been like that with the guys.
Just indifferent until you were drunk?
No, I just didn't date. It took a certain one for me to date.
A certain...
Like...
Okay, so I know this woman who wrote a book called Everything I Learned About Dating a Man, I Learned from Dating a Woman.
Mm-hmm.
And when she went back to dating, I'm not saying that's going to happen,
mm-hmm.
men, she saw a lot of herself in the lesbian relationship that were bad habits and the way she behaved with men, and she became a lot better as a girlfriend and
mm-hmm.
eventually a wife. Are there things now that you're learning in this relationship that you're like, oh yeah, I see what the guys were talking about.
100%.
I must have been difficult. Like what?
And not difficult, but just like the emotional part. You know, women are really emotional and needy. Like sometimes or she will do it. And
mm-hmm.
it's something I would have done in my past relationships. I'm like, oh my God, that's what I used to do.
Right.
Because we're the same. We're girls, right?
Right.
So she's going to do the same things I probably would. And I find myself going, oh, no wonder he was so annoyed by that. Like, this is annoying.
Yeah. So you can say it's a good experiment, even if no matter which lifestyle you choose.
Yes, it does. Definitely.
Which is the whole point of this here. Like getting out of your comfort zone can let you see everything in a new light, and especially your own behavior.
And I think it lets you see other people around you that are close to you, their true colors as well. That's one thing I've learned.
The biggest difference between this and a serious relationship you had prior,
mm-hmm.
what is the biggest difference in this relationship? Is it the easier communication because you're both women? I don't know.
It was for a while. I mean, we just are still in a relationship, so relationships are hard.
And what is the hardest thing? Like anything else?
I mean, sometimes it is communication.
Is
but
jealousy
we're very
an issue? Because that happens in a.
Yeah, and I think you have two emotions, two periods. This is a lot.
Right.
And we're not even synced up yet. So we're dealing with my PMS for 1 week, her PMS for the next week.
It's half the month. Yeah.
I give up. That part's hard.
Did you have a talk about exclusivity?
Yeah, that was pretty quick. She got off the app and then I was like, okay, good. And I didn't go back on the app once we exchanged cell phone numbers. I didn't go back on the app.
Was she constantly taking your temperature on, do you like this? Are you okay?
Only once.
Only once?
Yep.
And what did she say?
And I said, yeah.
How did that feel?
No, that was when she said, do you see this with you having a long thing with a girl? And I said, yeah. I said, this feels good. Yes. And she never asked again.
How has it manifested itself or helped itself in other aspects of your life? Are you more relaxed? Are you calmer? Are you don't worry about stuff? Has it trickled into your business life or anything else that you're
there are certain things you don't think about. Like, I was going to meet some clients of mine And I was telling her about it. And I was like, I think I'm going to tell him tonight. And I told her, I'm like, they're really strong Republicans. She was like, are you prepared to lose business?
Oh, really?
Because you have to think about those things.
Republicans would be mad that you're with a
Well, I mean,
hot
they're
girl?
no, and
You're a Republican.
I'm Republican.
Yeah,
so,
I know. So,
but there's a lot of more faith-based, like Republicans.
yeah, I get it.
So
There's
that's
a lot of phonies out there.
yeah, that's where it comes from.
Both sides.
And I told her right up. I said, I don't care if somebody doesn't want to do business with me because of that. But it is weird that we have to think about that.
Do you hold hands?
Yeah. I think it was a little nerve-wracking. Well, it was fine. In the beginning, it was like all hands on deck. Then I got a little like sometimes uncomfortable. But then when we went to California pretty early together, and once I was there, I didn't give a shit. A, I don't know anyone there, and B,
Right.
I felt comfortable. And then ever since then, it's fine.
Besides the touchy-feely stuff, is there anything that she has gotten you to think or do radically differently?
No,
That you can say like she changed your personality?
no,
What about her? Is there anything that she's like, oh, you know what? I've never.
no.
felt
I
this
don't
way?
think so.
You
I
guys
think
are just being yourselves.
We're being totally ourselves. We are opposite enough where we kind of balance each other out in certain ways.
So getting out of your comfort zone helped you find comfort.
It did.
Look at that.
And a hot girl.
And a hot girl. Yeah.
And she's smart too, which is a bonus.
Ah.
So does this mean you're willing to step out of your comfort zone? And,
No, not that far out of my comfort
Oh,
zone. I'm
okay.
good. But I was not somebody, I could see the frustration. And I know a lot of women who've done this. Men are less likely to do this probably. But
well, and women joke about it a lot. Like if we're not dating someone by this age, we're just going to be together
yeah.
because it just makes sense.
Yeah. No, I know a lot of put it this way, I know a lot of women who have done that and found happiness, and it is
There
what
are
it is. It
little-
doesn't mean that it's happily ever after. It doesn't mean you'll never date a guy again. It doesn't mean anything. I mean, it just thinks like right now in this moment, this works for you.
There are little things that you don't think about, like that I had to learn. Like when she would go out with her girlfriends, I'd be like, I'd feel like, why aren't you inviting me?
Yeah.
But she's like, remember, Sarah, you're still my partner. Like,
Right.
Imagine
And
if you were a
it's
dude.
it's guys' night, essentially. Yeah.
Yeah. And those kind of things you don't think about.
How much of a kick do you get out of it that guys think she's hot?
I love it. I love it.
That's what that
yeah.
is a big part. It's like, wait, what?
All my guy friends.
I know. If you go back and listen to that episode, it's like 358 or something like that, and you heard my reaction because you just brought in.
I dropped it on
Yeah.
you without you even knowing.
Have you brought her to the golf course yet?
I brought her a golf course like 3 times, and she's good, of course.
Really?
Yeah, it's annoying. She's an
Okay.
athlete.
Yeah. What
You
are
know.
gonna do?
Yeah, everyone knows. I shouldn't say that because all of a sudden I've been getting messages on my Instagram because of my new name of my new podcast, and they go, "Wait a minute, I'm kind of putting 2 and 2 together.
Yeah.
Are you dating a girl now?"
Yeah.
Yeah, I am.
All right. Lesson learned, great love listeners. Get out there. Cross over to the other side if that's what works. All right. Tell everybody where you can find this aforementioned podcast and what it's called.
So I thought it was appropriate to name it Switching Teams.
Yeah. I think so. Has she been on your podcast yet?
She hasn't.
Is
We
she
haven't got
going
there
to?
yet. Yeah. Well,
That's a
if
big
she wants
step
to.
in a relationship.
If she wants to.
I feel like you've been on here like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, but she prefers to be a little more private. So I don't know.
You were on this podcast once as a straight girl, once in transition, and now here lesbian.
On
Okay.
the other side.
On the other side. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sticking your toe into the water. It's called Switching Teams, and you can find it everywhere you find your podcast, correct?
Yep. And we talk about a lot of golf, but we're going to dive into everything.
So to speak.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right when it came out of my mouth, I'm like,
You're like, yeah, he's going to jump on this. All right. I'm proud of you. I root
Thank
for
you.
you and your happiness. At the end of the
Thank
day, it's about finding your happiness. As far as us, not just Switching Teams, but Great Love Debate, like, share, follow. Please review this podcast. Your reviews mean a lot in the podcasting ecosystem. Shoot us an email, greatlovedebate@gmail.com, and I will send you a picture of Sarah's girlfriend. And
she's going to love that.
Go to greatlovedebate.com. I don't know. We just did a live show. We kicked off our 10th season of the tour. I'm probably going to do one right here in Phoenix. I have not done a Great Love Debate show in Phoenix in about 6 years, which is weird because I get asked to do them and I think I'm going to do it. So look at the dates for that and all the rest, because as always at the Great Love Debate, we never stop making love. See you next time.